with the lonely goat, lay, oh, lay, oh, lay, hoo. You're back with the girl in goat, lay, oh, lay, oh, low. What it up? What it up? What it up?
It's me again, Rachel. I was coming back to show you all how to do some nightly maintenance to your hair, i.e. wrapping and showing the tools that are preferred when you wrap your hair, and also giving you a couple of options depending on your hair type, as far as like whether it's oily or whatever the maintenance will have to be for your hair type. So here we go. First thing you're going to need is a paddle brush like this. Most people call it a wig brush. This one is by Cricut. Another one that I really like, of course, is my all-time favorite, is the FHI. And that one also looks very similar to this, except for it's red and black instead of silver and black. And the reason why I chose to prefer these over the regular bristle brush is that these will help, so one, the curl doesn't get brushed out too soon, as well as it helps to comb through each strand much better because of how the pegs are put in. So this is why I prefer this over using a regular bristle brush. And I'm going to do it two ways for you today. One is wrapping, and this is so old, but one is wrapping with the Bonnet. I'm going to show how to do that. This helps so that if you have a particularly oily scalp, this will help so that your wrap will be able to stay longer. It'll still give you the look that you're looking for, and it'll be able to stay longer without looking too greasy, like 2 or 3 days, which mostly that's what I have. Gives me about 2 or 3 days tops, and then I'm looking like a grease ball. So if you don't need to shampoo your hair as often, but yet you want to have some sort of nightly maintenance and your hair is oily, this is going to be your best bet. And I'll show you this one first because it's the easiest, and also showing you with the traditional silk scarf. This normally helps as far as making sure that your hair isn't drying out. What you don't want to do is use a cotton bandana. That is going to dry your hair out. Please stay away from those. Anything that's satin, silk, polyester, blend, not really too happy about it, but you know, it's better than the cotton. But anything satin or silk is going to help. As well as I'm going to give a reinforcement tool, which is the satin pillowcase. This really does help, because a lot of the times, and if you're like me, you're a wild sleeper, when you wake up in the morning, your scarf is off, and you want to be able to make sure that you are protecting your hair at all costs. So I definitely recommend to use the satin pillowcase as reinforcement, just in case one of those other two options falls off, so that your hair, and especially in the back, if there's a lot of breakage, that will help to alleviate that as well. So we'll get started. First thing that I do is I comb everything from the middle of my head forward. So I'm going to do that. And this is very simple. And these are just, you know, little things that you can do to make sure, or to ensure that the health of your hair is the best that it can be. So as you all can see, it's like a little hole in the middle there. And what you're going to start to do is you're going to start to brush it. Don't necessarily start wrapping it yet, but start to brush it in the direction that you want your wrap to be. That's the first circle. Now once you come around to the second circle, or the second go round, that's when you start to brush up. And as you can see, it still leaves this middle part, so that way I won't have hair that is combing over or falling out, which that typically is the biggest problem for most people. So you're going to continue to come around. I always like to do the head tilt. I think everyone does the head tilt. So you're going to continue to come around after you have that all up. Now this is for all of my Bonnet people who are like me, that have a very oily scalp. So what you're going to do is, my Bonnet, it has a rubber band lining. If this is on the inside, turn it inside out, because this will also have a tendency to rub and cause some breakage. So just to be on the safe side, make sure that the rubber part is out. So what I'm going to do is just put that on like so. And I always like to turn my bonnet just to make sure all the hair is sweeping in one direction underneath. And I do the same thing if I was to wrap it with, if I was to wrap it with the scarf. Now, what's happening on the inside of here, because I know people are like, well, how does it stay wrapped? Well, the thing is, what you want to do is make sure, when you sweep it, that it's all swept in there. And once the hair falls inside of the bonnet, it's going to fall in the way that it's wrapped, if that makes sense. So you don't want to necessarily worry about your hair ruffling up too much on the inside, not unless you're like me and sleep very, very heavy. And although I sleep very, very heavy, this still works very well for me, and it keeps it from getting so oily so soon. So that's one method.
This is the key that makes us wind up. When the beat comes on, the girls all line up and the boys all look, but no, they can't touch. But the girls want to know why.